Good evening, TheoTrade. This is Coy Rosenblumen. You're watching the Theo Nightly video for the 17th of October, 2019. We are still in the earnings week, really a few weeks here, but this is the first week of our Q4 major earnings. In Tuesday night's video, we took a look at financials. Tonight, let's take a look at technology stocks, mainly with the XLK. Netflix, certainly. That's our big gapper and trender, really, earnings play of today's session. But there's not just that one. There's little hidden stocks, big stocks, and other stocks that are sneaking into the earnings picture. And you may have positions on some of those, or at least be looking to put some on. So in the general sense, this is the S&P 500. We'll go ahead and zoom that chart in. And we keep making these series of higher highs, higher low, higher high, higher low, retest of the high, but that's a higher low. So we are still in a bull market. We all still are in an economic expansion, and we keep playing up to these key levels. Today we're interacting with 3,000 on the S&P 500, and that is just shy of the 30-20 or 30-30 spot, which will define whether or not we do a short squeeze or additional bullish activity, taking us into October. We're going to be cautious once again against these levels, but again, we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves in tonight's video. That's just a broader perspective that the S&P is just a little bit shy, once again, of new all-time highs. So put that in context. The financial stocks in general, we'll take a look at the XLF, has been strong and remains strong. So same principle, higher high, higher low, higher high, retest the low, retest the high. So we're going to be watching this trend line channel. And the level for the XLF, your broader financial ETF, is roughly 28.50. Now notice in general, the XLF trades in $1, at least has pivot points, at $1 increments or even 50-cent increments. So we'll continue to watch that if you're positioning. That was a bullish bounce play, was the last recommendation. And that was mainly off of 26.50 and 27. So as that comes into fruition or gets the target just shy of 28.50, we'll put these financial names and other stocks in that context. But again, in today's session, we are talking about the technology sector, and that's best seen, broader picture at least, with XLK. So what is the picture? This was a stellar start. I mean, just remarkable to 2019, and the index has really held its own into the highs. So that's just a continual bull market, but like the other indices and the market itself, we are seeing a stall, which is a resistance, into 82.50 or just shy of 83. So that target is being somewhat achieved into the prior high. As we get more technology and other broader S&P components and other name stocks where they report their earnings and how they gap up or down, that's going to determine whether we continue to be somewhat bullish, taking our profits into resistance. That's the going thesis right now. Or if we start to shift our perspective from protection and caution to, I don't want to say outright bull, but unless some type of bullish continuation plays beyond these new all-time highs. And that will go for the XLK technology sector as well. Netflix is the big one for today's session. So we had this bullish opportunity off of support. We discussed that in prior videos from 250 per share. We thought the market, or I thought at least, might go not that much higher, but at least bounce up toward 300. It did take an earnings play to get us there. So Netflix shares, if you are in positions or butterflies or scalping or whatever the case may be, we'll be focusing on 300 per share. And that again is Netflix. We can pull that perspective back to a weekly chart to see this. So that is why we had that note or that horizontal support shelf in prior videos. And if you did play a call or a bullish opportunity, we did reference the end of 2018 as we are in the end, or at least pushing toward the final quarter of 2019. So we are seeing potentially a similar upside push, play, or $50 move at this point in the shares. So we will be playing any type of departure from 300 per share. That's an earnings play from today's session. Otherwise, we can look at these quickly and sort the S&P 100 I do that with a watch list. You can do it with a scan tool as well up here, but just for quickness sake, I like to put scans in a watch list because that's able to click and link the charts a little quicker than a scan tab can do. You can also do a scan tab and save these as a watch list. So what is this indicator? What's going on here? We have days till earnings. So we can just look at what we're having in the watch list. I like to look at the percent change. ADX is helpful to me as an intraday trader or to find, in this case, swing trade candidates. But we're going to be focusing on days till earnings. So that is a column within the tool or the watch list function. So all we do is sort, and you can see the 0 means they have earnings today. So those would include in the S&P 100, Netflix is not part of that list, Union Pacific. So we'll get through these and just I'll reference these and look at the charts with you. So Union Pacific, Honeywell, Morgan Stanley, and Philip Morris. In tomorrow's session, we'll be looking at American Express, Coca-Cola, and Schlumberger. Those are names in the S&P 100 once again. So for Union Pacific, we can also do that here. We'll just sort them there. Union Pacific is a push back inside of our range. That's 160 and 170 for the UNP shares. So that's an earnings play that just pushed a little bit higher in today's session. Again, bullish outcomes just about across the board. Honeywell, no different. Support bounce, support play off of 160 per share, and the focal point 170. And that's kind of a general thesis or theme going across multiple stocks right now. They have had a successful bullish bounce play, and earnings or news are the catalyst to get us up into targets, which is mainly prior resistance highs. So that's 170 for Honeywell. And again, the financials, we are back into our target of 45 per share. And that comes off of a bullish opportunity. In prior videos, we've discussed this chart and some other charts for bullish bounce plays, Netflix included. And you might do that with in-out spreads to the upside, call spreads, or maybe even verticals, bull verticals. Difference would be strike prices, risk parameters, and of course, whether you purchase your first call in the money, which is your in-out spread, or play a little bit outside of it, that's a vertical. So that's up to you to make that decision. So focusing on price levels, we are up into the target, and that is roughly 45 per share for Morgan Stanley. So the one more to look at today is Philip Morris. It as well is getting a bullish bounce. So we're just looking at the S&P 100 and just obviously hand selecting, or at least looking at the big stocks or big components. But at the moment, the 4 of them listed in our scan in terms of S&P 100 days to expiration or days till the earnings, they all 4 came out bullish. And we throw a 5th one in for Netflix. Tomorrow we'll be looking at American Express, and that is into a 118 spot. You can see how the earnings can play out from here. And just you can also do the cross check here or double check. We have earnings on the 18th, which is Friday. So I see it here in the days till earnings. You can also add, and that's just a corporate function, add the corporate function on your equities. So show corporate actions. So that's how we get that to show. Also shows dividends too. Coca-Cola might not be a superb name to trade, but still higher highs, higher lows uptrend. And then we keep coming up with this one in our intraday scans for those trending stocks, and that's Schlumberger. It's been having some trend days up and down. So that's where my attention's been on Schlumberger. Not a lot with the swing perspective, but with intraday trend tactics, Schlumberger seems to keep showing up in our intraday trading lists. And you can go back the other way and see it for stocks that have reported, and those might be familiar names. Abbott Labs, this is just flipping the scan the opposite direction. So clicking from the top, days till earnings again, and just looking at which ones have already reported. Pepsi, and then BlackRock, financial company, Wells Fargo, financial hit the target, and Citigroup, just to name a few. But as always, be careful and safe. This is Corey Rosenblum with your Theo Nightly video for October 17, 2019.